Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to this Bulls Update. My name is Paul Peck, joined by UB Women's Volleyball coach Blair Brown-Lipsitz. We're talking a little bit about your team at that crucial point in the year where you shift from the non-conference schedule to the MAC schedule, but you're doing it on a high with the first win of the year against Bucknell. Tell us about it.
Very excited to see the group come together as one cohesive unit. That's kind of what you hope for in preseason, especially going into conference play this weekend.
As we've talked about before, the season did not get off to the way you wanted it to. You're trying to work a lot of younger players in, new coaching and all that other stuff that goes on with it. So did you see all of that stuff maybe start to fall in place in the win over Bucknell?
We did. We saw the progression, and that's what we've been looking for, is for all of it to sort of click at the right time. And if there's ever a right time, it's right before conference starts.
Well, it is the right time because you get going with Kent State and Ohio to start things off this weekend. What's your sense of where the MAC is at? What's your sense of how your team has to perform to be successful in the MAC?
Well, you always have to perform in the MAC. I mean, there are great teams, and Ohio's got a long-standing tradition of success within the MAC, and Kent's been doing really well for the past few years, so they're going to have some good kids coming back and some great newbies.
All right, let's talk about some of your athletes and who's kind of leading the way, and we'll start with the lady that is leading your charge offensively, and that is Cassie Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about how well she's playing.
She's one of only two upperclassmen, so she's, as we say, she's doing her job. She's a junior this year, and she's touching really high. She's going up. She's working harder on offense than I think she ever has, and she's seeing the results of that.
Yeah, she performed very well against Bucknell with 11 kills and 13 attacks in that game. Staying closer to home, Williamsville native sophomore Madison Clark, all-tournament team this past weekend. What did Madison do to elevate her game?
Well, Madison's been a very steady player for us. Last year she set for us, and she found another spot on the court this year to be in the starting lineup as an outside hitter, and we needed that ball control 6 rotation, so she's been doing a really good job for us.
And who are some of the other players that are jumping out a little bit?
We've got some of our freshmen doing some big things. Our freshman setter, Scout McLaren's doing well, and our libero, Hannah Watson's been getting everything up that she can.
We've talked a little bit previously about the interesting schedule your team has faced all year long. Yeah. So even as we start the MAC, first 3 matches on the road, and then you're home for the 8 of 10. So do you feel like you just want to weather the storm here a little bit with these first 3?
Yeah, definitely. I hope that we're good on the road because we've been practicing being on the road for so long, and we'll be very happy to come home in a couple weeks.
How difficult has that been for you as a coaching staff, a coach and a coaching staff, and for the players just to not really get a chance to be home at all?
Right. I think it's good for them to travel together, and I think that they've become much more of a team, more of a cohesive unit like we talked about early on because they have to spend so much time together.
Right. You always hear that in sports, that sometimes being on the road isn't a bad thing,
right,
because it lends to sometimes you get away from some of the distractions that people have in their daily lives, and like you said, everybody's kind of eating together, hanging out together, learning together.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you've been done to try to encourage some of that?
I would say one of the things that they have done are dance parties.
Okay.
That's the way they get ready for games. That's kind of how they get hyped up for the matches, which we encourage because we want them to have that positive energy flowing into the match.
We'll have to work on getting a hold of some of the video of the dance parties for our next Bulls Update. Can you promise that for us?
Absolutely.
All right, October 1st is the first home match for Blair's team. That'll be against Ball State here at Alumni Arena. Good luck getting going in the MAC, and we'll look forward to catching up with you and checking in later.
Thank you very much.
Blair Brown-Lipsitz, the UB Women's Volleyball head coach. We thank her for joining us on this Bulls Update here on the Bulls Digital Network.